Boo.
Alright, that's enough of that. Chat, this shit's got to get better. Give me vids, good vids, scary vids. It's Halloween. The Ralph Reacts Halloween Hangout. Hit me with it!
This is Merrick Morgan with devastating news. Owen Douglas has been murdered! Welcome to our first ghost hunt. Ectoplasm.
Salutations, Wondrous Mother Lovers. I'm Mommy Rachel, and this is the world of holistic mommying.
How much you pay for rent in LA?
I pay like $750.
$750? That's crazy.
Welcome for those of you that just joined us. I got a lot of fun shit planned for that Halloween Hangout.
Everyone, can I get your attention? We need to take accountability and realize how we all play a role in Owen's death.
This place does things to you, but we're gonna get through this. You and I, it's gonna be a collab.
Listen to your child cry. You never know when you'll hear it again.
What you're about to see is a breakthrough of metaphysics and scientific theories. Real.
Bruh, that shit was weird.
That's just amazing. And we are live. So welcome to A&B Horror Movies. I'm Aaron, and I'm joined today by Frank from Cheers Up Cinema. And we are very excited to have David James Clark and Joe Martinez-Weinberger on. Welcome to you both.
Thanks for having us on.
Yes, absolutely. So we have you on to talk about your brand new horror anthology called Clickbait. I've watched it twice. It's an absolute blast. It's a horror anthology about a live streamer who has a cursed live stream, and he's forced to watch the final videos of YouTube creators or content creators who have never been seen again. What a fantastic premise. And I forgot to mention that it all happens on Halloween night, so a perfect film to watch this time of year. So before we get into it, I just want to say congratulations to you both on creating a fantastic new horror anthology that I loved.
Thanks.
Thank you.
That's a better log line than we have. We should steal that one, David.
I think so,
What the hell do we have? Well,
Yeah, you can steal anything I say.
thanks for having us on what will probably be the least viewed video in A&B horror history because we're on it, David.
Yeah, I think so.
No, man, don't say that. Don't say that. But you know what? Regardless, we're going to have a good time. We're going to have a good time. So my first question for you both is, how did you found Gallows Humor Pictures? That's the production company that you've created together and created Clickbait with. So why don't we start with that?
Okay. Should I go into the normal spiel, David?
Yeah, I mean, you're the salesman on this one, so I say, Joe, take it away.
It all started with the worst day of our lives when we got laid off. We were both assistants. We worked from the mailroom all the way up to being assistants at a big shot Hollywood agency. And when the writers and actors struck, which they should have, we lost our jobs because the industry contracted like a black hole. And we were pretty much at a crossroads. We didn't know what we wanted to do. Well, no, we didn't know. We knew what we wanted to do. We didn't know how the hell we were going to get there. And we realized, all of our favorite filmmakers and all of our favorite producers, they just made stuff. They didn't work as someone's assistant. They didn't wait for opportunity to rise. They just kept making stuff. And hell, maybe the first few things they make are bad. And you know what? If you like clickbait, that's up to you guys. But we decided we're going to just make our first feature. We're going to just take a huge shot. And hopefully it pays off. And at the end of the day, just making it pays off because we bit off way more than we could chew. And our stomachs are full right now still. And Gallows Humor Pictures is our production company. Clickbait is under it. It's our first feature. But we want to grow it more into just a raw, independent horror production company where we make everything grassroots. We make everything for fans because at the end of the day, that's why we're in entertainment. We're not in entertainment to schedule people's meetings or get them coffee. We're here to make stuff, unlike most of the people here. So that's kind of the thesis statement for the company writ large.
Oh, that's fantastic. So the worst day of your lives turned into something awesome, at least in my opinion. So Clickbait is your first film. Can you talk a little bit about the inspiration for it? How did you come up with the different segments, with the different ideas? And then, you thought, let's make this horror anthology.
You want to go, David?
Yeah, I mean, so Joe and I, we had this worst day of our lives, and we're like, okay, we got to make something. And around this is kind of like the long of the tooth way of getting to the story, but there was a movie that came out, a really fantastic indie horror movie, Skinamarink, around the time that we were, or a little before we were laid off. So what we wanted to do as a first project, just to like test working together, was a parody of it. We thought of, okay, there's this one part of Skinamarink that is like, the toilet disappears along with the windows and doors in the house, if anybody's seen it. And that was something that Joe and I were like, why'd that happen? What was going on in that part of the movie where that was an important thing to show? So we ended up coming up with this little parody short that was like, what would happen if like 3 high school kids came home one night and one of them had to like go to the bathroom and the toilet's gone. And then one of them poops in a bucket. They're like, why'd you do that? And the mom gets mad, and then hilarity ensues because it was paranormal. It didn't make sense. But from there, we started just like, okay, what other projects we could do? Because it worked. We got done with it. And frankly, we have a little love for it to this day. But what we started to do is just look at a bunch of like short form content that was on YouTube, as we were trying to, break through the noise of the algorithm or whatever people try to do nowadays. We just kept seeing really vapid, cynical, like the Rent in LA guy that was like, hey, let me come over and like, I'll test your bed out. Joe actually was quite up in arms about this kind of content.
We both lost our jobs, and I was ostensibly, I like had to lose my apartment. I was living at my friend's place, and we were just like, damn, we're losing to the people that walk around and film vertically. And I don't think the money entertainment is ever coming back. And a big part of making Clickbait was just kind of all of our indignation and contempt boiled into one movie where we got to kill all of these content creators that inadvertently caused the entire entertainment industry to collapse. And it's for people that love horror films. I mean, if you do the Rent in LA, like you do the apartment vlogs, you do the cynical ghost hunting where the ghosts aren't real, you just make content to be consumed, and we wanted to make a movie to be enjoyed that you could sit around with your friends and have a couple beers with. And that's ultimately all the movies we want to make in the future. And was the thesis statement for the entire movie was fuck these people. I don't know if I could say that. I mean, it's a horror.
Yeah, no, go for it. And I love that. It comes across in a humorous and entertaining way, because I don't think any of the individuals, let's say the content creators in Clickbait, are very likable. And I don't want to say they get what they deserve, but perhaps they do.
I love Ralph. I think Ralph's cool.
I was going to talk about Ralph first, but Frank, I want to give you an opportunity if you want to jump in with anything.
Yeah,
how about lovable Ralph?
Yeah, he was great. How long does something like this take? From start date to finish? Weeks, months,
an eternity.
For sure.
I would say this is like a page out of Lloyd Kaufman's book, but the second you start making a movie, you're always working on it until you die. And right now we're doing the second half of the movie, which is promoting it. It doesn't matter if you make the movie and no one sees it.
Mm-hmm.
So it took a couple years from the original concept to finish the movie. And when we were doing that, it was pretty trying. We were working again as assistants, and we were working 8 to 10 to 12 hours a day as assistants. And then we would go home and do all of the pre-production work. And then the weekends were all pre-production work. And then when we went to production, we still had full-time jobs. So we maxed out our vacation days, our sick days. I even faked having COVID twice. And I had like a real COVID, like a positive test that I would be like, guys, I'm sorry, I can't come in today. And I'll take pictures of the
test.
the
picture of it.
Yeah. They were pretty much, they were none the wiser until I really just got fed up at that company. But we finished all that. Then now we're living in we have to fully promote it, and we need to jump off again, and we need to find a way to make our next movie. So the Clickbait we'll be done working on it when we're 6 feet under, probably. Just like everything else.
So with that, are you still editing Clickbait? The versions we've seen, would you say that's the final final streaming version that everyone will consume?
Like ostensibly, it's not going to change a whole lot. But I think Joe and I, as we're still going through the process of exhibiting it, we'll see little things, and we're learning as filmmakers, and we might nip and tuck something. But at the same time, I think we really set out to make something that we had a strong vision for in our head, along with supporting the strong vision of those who helped us make it. And we landed pretty damn close, I would say.
I think we should wait for people to really like it and then go back and change everything they like. So it's
yeah, that's true.
Now watch it again for the first time. So let's talk. I love that. Let's talk about the framing story. Ralph reacts. Oh my God, Ralph, played by Tyler Asino. I hope I'm saying his last name right. He is fantastic. First off, is he that much fun in real life? Because he's hysterical. The banter he has with his mother, so funny. So I guess my first question is, what was it like working with him, and what was the casting process to get him involved and to get him to play Ralph?
The casting process was interesting for that one because, as you've noticed after having watched Ralph Reacts, Ralph is a little bit of like a, he's a tubby guy. He has his snacks. He's eating snacks the whole time, running around. And initially we had this actor who was interested. And at that point I had written some jokes into the script that I was just like, this is funny. It's just a little funny. Well, the guy, after having read the script fully, got back to us and was like, I want to do this script. Like, I think you're making fun of me for being fat. And Joe and I had like this shut down moment of production. It was still very early on. We were like, what are we going to do? It was 2 weeks from when we were supposed to shoot it.
It might have been even less. I just remember David saying, I wrote it, I'm fat. Like, he's like freaking out over it. The kid went as far as attaching, like he signed our agreement and everything. We didn't know, we're not going to actually go after him because.
No, it was, it's a fine opinion to have, but it was a little bit like, come on. Yeah.
Well, if he was feeling that way, it's probably best that he didn't do it.
He wouldn't have been down for what Tyler ended up giving us, which is everything and way more. Tyler Arsenault is such a talented actor, but more importantly, he trusted us really quickly. And I think a huge breakdown, especially with larger productions, is actors and directors, if they have a breakdown in communication, just game over. If they're not going to fully accept the role they're playing and accept the direction that you're giving them, they're never going to be as authentic as they should be. But Tyler immediately adopted the character and made it his own, and it's better than what we wrote on the page.
Yeah. I think when we were working with him and he was coming up with his character, the thing I really liked is he started to even give, I've been watching like Queso's streams and I've been really basing the character off this. And he always came with this idea of like, it's about appreciating YouTube culture as much as it is also then criticizing it. And that's one of the things I really found awesome about working with him is he just dove right in.
Oh, he's so good. And
he's down for everything. I mean, he was when he got, it's not even a crazy spoiler. He had to like jump under a bed at one point. And he's a big man. Maybe he towers over me. And I remember I was
skilled. Yeah, he's very.
Yeah, he had to just like stuck under there, and you don't even see him. But that's a huge part of just trusting. And I guess from a directing and acting standpoint, if you just are good dudes, good people, you come together, and you know what you're making, and you may end up with a great product at the end.
Yeah, he's so good. And like I said, the whole banter with his mother, where he's sort of like, I'm live streaming here, leave me alone, and yelling at her. And then when he goes out into the apartment, Frank, I'll stop talking in a second. When he goes out into the apartment, I don't know, things end very badly, let's say, for this lovable live streamer on Halloween night. And I'll stop here. Frank, I'll let you jump in. Do you have any questions for the wraparound story of Ralph Reacts?
So was the earthquake when we could say the curse entered in?
Yes, very much so. I mean, that was pretty much just ripped from Evil Dead, except it's the live stream itself, the AI chatbot reading out the curse instead of it being an old tape recorder.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and
he has no idea, right? He has no idea that's happened. Yeah.
David,
go ahead. What's your fun fact?
That's David's childhood home that we shot that entire short in.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Yep, shot in my brother's bedroom.
Wow.
No.
Would you ever do that again? Would you ever shoot in your childhood home again?
I would, because it's free. Like, that was one of the great benefits of it.
Can't beat that.
It was pretty interesting, because I think there were certain reasons that my childhood home really worked, as well as it allowed. I mean, Joe and I, of course, the whole thesis of Clickbait is that we did this all with our own resources in order to build it. So then when you have that full capability to go in and just, I mean, it was setting up the other room where the boy is later on in the wraparound. That was like a whole project in which Joe and I were just pulling stuff out from different corners of my house and plastering it all over the walls of that room. And I don't think we would have had that creativity given any other environment. So that was
if it wasn't clear, we did all the production design for all the shorts too. It definitely paid off in that one. A lot of those were just like David's childhood toys that we threw all over the place.
They were, yeah.
It looked authentic. It looked like a room that Ralph would live in. So continuing to talk about Ralph Reacts, the special effects in this, like the makeup, the monstrous demon effects. Can you speak to that? Who did you, what makeup artist did you work with? Because we have the little brother, which was scary and hysterical at the same time. And then, of course, the mother who transitions into something wicked, let's say.
Yeah, I mean, it's the world famous Eric Fox of, well, I believe it's Face Off Season 4 lore. He doesn't want to be called one, but he is ostensibly a pseudo celebrity, especially in the horror community, just from his Face Off appearance alone. But most special effects houses wouldn't work with us because they quoted one effect in particular, which is the monkey symbols at the very end. It's like $10,000. And we're like, Jesus Christ. No, we can't afford that. And Eric is such a professional and such a fan of horror, most importantly, fan of found footage. I mean, he resonated so much with the concept that he was willing to just work with us what we did have. And he ended up giving us something so much greater than we initially envisioned that we're going to be always indebted to the makeup effects he did. I mean, the boy looks incredible. The mom looks fantastic. And he did them for every single short. And he's a great friend now. And I cannot speak highly enough of him.
Oh, that's awesome. I just want to take a moment to say hi to Sean, who is viewing this. Hey, Sean, thanks for jumping on and checking out our live stream tonight. Okay, I sort of have a fun question about the little brother. What was the little brother eating?
Well, it wasn't cheesy popcorn, if you noticed.
No, it was definitely not.
The little brother is a funny character because I think earlier on, I mean, a lot of Joe and mine's process is just like trying to make each other laugh, of course. And earlier on, the boy was called like Guga or something like that. And he was just supposed to be like this little gray thing running around. And then eventually we came up with this kind of sort of backstory for the boy in that he's supposed to be like this sibling that Ralph may have had at one point, but his mom like got rid of it or for whatever fucked up family past that Ralph's family has. And it then manifests as some sort of like Ralph's no good as a son, therefore this other thing exists as a manifestation of that. But the gray goop kind of just then came out of continuing to be like, what can we do to just absolutely be absurd about this character? Because then Ralph's eating a bunch throughout the shorts, and you could interpret it as like Ralph's just ingesting gray slop all the time, just like the boy.
Yeah, that was supposed to be the analogy for it. It was like, how far off is the boy from Ralph? They're both in a room, they're both on technology, and they're both eating garbage, except Ralph's is kind of accepted, and we see the boy, and we're like, what the hell is this? He lives in a tunnel full of garbage, and he's eating gray slop, and that's pretty much what Ralph does. And it's kind of like Ralph also kind of looking within himself. That's a very inside baseball way of saying Dave and I wanted to do stupid shit on camera to make each other laugh.
Yeah, pretty much.
But I like it better when you say there's like the theme of consumption all the way through and consuming. I think that sounds more intelligent.
Yeah, that's one of the through lines, because all these people make stuff to be content to be consumed. They don't really, they view their viewer as the consumer. They don't view them as someone that they're trying to entertain, really.
Yeah.
Well, please tell Tyler that he did a fantastic job in the wraparound segment. Why don't we switch gears and talk a little bit about the first segment, which is the search for Kyle Sees Ghosts. Frank, why don't I turn it over to you? Do you want to kick this one off and ask the first question about this one?
Yeah, definitely. I think I noticed that it might have took place there in a haunted brewery or something like that.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yep. And I know you guys mentioned that you like to kick back, have some beers, and have a good time. So, what are if you had to pick your go-to beverage or your favorite beer?
Yeah, I was gonna say he's got one right there.
Hey, there it is.
I'm only drinking this because this is the exact beer we drank when we made the chat for Ralph Reacts. We're such cheapskates. We're like, this is the best value for $1. It's like 70 cents a bottle or a can.
Yeah.
It tastes like potato chips, but goddamn, it does the job when you need to write 25 pages of chat copy that are all heinous and disgusting.
Oh my gosh.
At first, I thought you had a Sprite there, but I'm glad. I'm glad to know it's a Rolling Rock.
It's coffee to me. That's awesome. And by like the 5th or 6th one, they start to taste pretty good.
Cheers up.
Yes. I have ice water here, sadly. Actually, before we jump into that segment, Kyle Sees Ghosts, can you speak a little bit to all of the comments that you had to type out? It sounds like you had a lot of fun typing them out. And the second time through, Frank and I were talking about this. I tried to read as many as I could, and they were quite funny.
Yeah, if you read all of them, we might not be able to even make a next movie.
Yeah, there was so the chat was always something that I think Joe and I made the proof of concept for the wraparound very early on before making Clickbait, and that was always something that we're like, we could do a lot of fun storytelling with the chat as much as we can also inject a bunch of jokes into it. We'd watched a bunch of Screen Life movies ahead of making Clickbait, just things that where other people have tried to like lampoon social media culture, etc., live streams. And the chats were always like the most boring part of the movie. They were just like a surface level, like, whoa, that's crazy, or I can't believe that happened, with like that shocked face emoji. And that's like all the comments.
The screaming face. Yeah.
It's just leaving so much on the table as far as what you can do with those kind of, live chats, which are, as Joe would put it, heinous in real life, like debaucherous garbage. But it's a reflection of what's going on the internet. And so what we wanted to do is just make it funny first, but then also just making it like an accurate reflection of how toxic that shit can be. And
it's also fully a character. The chat and the way the chat voice talks to Ralph, that's 100% a character. Tyler is he's so talented. He's working by himself pretty much for the entire short. And the chat just also gave us an opportunity to make fun of our own movie. If you look at a lot of those chats, it's like, man, Kyle Sees Ghosts suck. Like, those are the comments that we have all over it. You're saying like the movies were fake or the effects look bad. We just love always, if you can make fun of yourself in your own movie, why not? It's a good time. And
of course,
when this movie plays, should it be Tubi or anywhere else, it'd be awesome to get on Screenbox or Shudder. You can just rewatch it just for the chat alone. And that was the big part of it.
Yeah,
I was going to say that. I want to go back in and just pause it and read through some of the chats. I mean, some of it, like, it goes like off the walls, right? And then there's just like gibberish, and I thought it was really funny to see some of the banter back and forth there. Okay, so back to the search for Kyle Sees Ghosts. There's this sort of like ghostly blue dot that comes about. How did you achieve that look? Because it's almost retro, but also modern and kind of creepy, the way it just sort of looms in view. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, that effect is an interesting one, because a lot of the VFX that we had to do in the movie, and VFX is putting it very lightly, were things that Joe and I essentially had to come up with and then test and then make sure that we could do, just being two guys who can barely operate a toaster. And there was a lot of learning that went into making things that, are in Clickbait. But that one specifically, what we ended up doing is like on set, I wanted to make sure we had like natural light always following around. You can do it digitally, but the more you can also add practicality to any of the effects you're going to do, the better, especially because Joe and I tend to lean more towards doing practical effects now. So what we did is we put like a China ball and this like really long PVC pipe that you could just kind of like make float around a room, and then just go in. I created like a little ball effect, and I would show it to Joe every week, and he'd be like, "It doesn't look good enough yet. It doesn't look good enough yet." And then eventually we molded it into something that is kind of like you're saying, like it has this weird kind of CRTV retro feel to it, but it is kind of like ominous and looming. Because especially we kind of just wanted it to look a little silly, given a lot of paranormal stuff, especially a lot of like paranormal found footage stuff, can go a little bit too heavy on the effects, in my opinion, anyway. And I feel like it simplifies it down to like it's just a blue ball, dude. Just a blue ball.
That's what was the funniest to me. I mean, if this was to be totally in earnest, that short, it would have been like this weird black shadow monster. Like if a couple of suits were like, let's do a found footage movie about ghost hunters, it would have looked just like that. And the paranormal is so beyond our comprehension that it probably is more likely just a blue damn ball that it just floats. And that's what's funny about it. They're always freaking out and just a blue ball floating.
Especially because the whole point is it comes from just like a microwave exploding, and that's how they discover like the greatest thing that ever happened in humanity. They discover the afterlife because of microwave.
From a microwave. And it's funny that you said you don't know how to use a toaster, because a microwave is such an integral part of this segment.
Well, we obviously don't know how to use it. It's
we put tinfoil in a fucking microwave.
Oh, that's a funny one, actually. So yeah, that effect before it explodes is just like tinfoil in some glass inside the microwave. Like I knew it was like that's how you could just make it go zap some plasma out. The actors were terrified of getting near it on the day, even though I was like, it can't even catch on fire. This is like a 6-year-old could do this experiment. They would go up to it and like a caveman be like, oh, it was so funny.
Yeah. Oh my God! So what happens? I'm curious. The little kid in me is curious. If you put the aluminum foil, Frank, I don't know if you know, you put aluminum foil on a glass and put it in the microwave, it just like zaps.
Yeah, so I guess it has like it's interesting because the effects that go into it is science, and that's what I find so fun about it. But it is really just like when you put the tin foil in the microwave and then it's in that enclosed space. Essentially, what happens is like the foil. The angle, I don't know what you would call it, like the tines, the angles on it create something that like an electrical arc can happen, because then when the electrons or something like this heat up as the microwave is going from inside of the enclosed space, like the reaction creates that superheated plasma that is then what arcs between parts of the foil.
Okay.
And completely safe.
Then a blue dot comes out and starts killing everyone. Is that the?
That also happens in real life.
That happens in real life, right?
Yeah.
I know what I'm going to do.
We killed all 3 of the actors. They did such a horrible job. No, the actors of Kyle Sees Ghosts, all fantastic, all from the Stella Adler Acting Academy.
Yeah.
And those guys, like in their dynamic, it's just 100% true to life.
Yeah.
Like the guy that plays Kyle, that's Bali in real life, pretty much.
Pretty much.
No, he's the guy who can pee forever. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad you noticed that too. Joe and I thought about that after shooting that, and we were like, "It's a lot that he would have had."
Frank and I were chatting about that. Like, that's a long stream of pee.
Under a lot of pressure.
Yeah, I guess so. It's ghostly. I have one sort of fun question, and then Frank, I'll let you jump in. What were those body parts? So there are body parts in the film. There's like a bag of stuff. I don't want to spoil it too much, but what are those body parts?
We're bad visual storytellers, because that's supposed to be Kyle's ex-partner, Ellis, in the bag.
Oh my God, that makes so much sense now.
When he throws the bag down, you see Ellis's beanie. It's real tough because Ellis was only in that one montage in the beginning of the movie. But Kyle kills Ellis, and because of that, they resurrect his spirit or some sort of dark spirit into the blue ball. It's contrived, but we love it.
I missed that part, but I was actually asking about. I didn't know who the dead person was. What were those body parts? Like
those are
actual sausages, or I don't know.
Joe and we kill homeless people in the street.
You kill homeless.
Yeah,
I mean that's low budget filmmaking.
You just found
the most authentic we could. I mean, cheapest, most authentic. It was David's idea, so if you want to, hey, it's not on me.
Yeah, maybe we should move on.
I'll take fault.
Well, the effects were great. I'll leave it at that.
Thanks.
Frank, you want to jump in?
Yeah, man. I guess I did have a question on the P Day. What that was directed by Taylor Weiss, or not you guys, or how did that work? Yeah. Okay, gotcha. And then what did Dean and Grant do? Did they write or?
Yeah, so P-Day was written by Jude Price, who is an old friend of ours, who also worked at the agency that we were all at, and also lost their job when we did.
Mm-hmm.
So it was awesome. They were a very talented writer, and then they took that script, and then we had Taylor direct it. Very talented young director, also working a lot. Hopefully she gets a lot bigger and better things than working with us in P-Day. And Dean is an old friend of David's. I believe they met in college, and it was he works at the metal cutting shop that we shot Rent in LA at. So it's like this weird web of just low budget indie community where everyone came together. Because we also, we wanted Clickbait to be a diverse array of filmmakers, because that way you can elevate other voices. But also, more importantly, if we're really bad, then at least the other shorts have a chance of being good. So P-Day and then Daring Dudes by Taylor and Dean respectively were both directed by them, their visions, and Grant wrote Daring Dudes, who's also quite the talented writer, bursting with creativity. It was very hard to harness him because he just wanted to add so much, and we're like, we have 2 dimes that we can rub together to make this movie work.
Yeah, there's a very early iteration of Daring Dudes where Grant wanted us to drive an RV off of a cliff and then have it explode.
Oh shit!
Which would be awesome.
Easy enough.
It would be amazing if we could afford to do it.
Yeah.
So we had to cut that one.
Yeah. So let's. I do have a couple of questions about P-Day. First of all, Lily Thays as Rachel is fantastic. She is perfectly cast for this, so believable. And when she starts to come undone, let's say, wow, look out! It's so damn good. So what was it like? I know you didn't direct it, but you were involved and you were on set, I think, most of the time. What was it like working with her and observing Taylor Weiss directing her and creating this very creepy but also likable character until perhaps she's not? I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to go first, David.
Well, yeah, Taylor is... So I think actually Grant, if I'm correct, Grant was the person who recommended Taylor to us in the beginning. There was a good network of people that have come out of Chapman, where Joe's from. They're very talented people. And Taylor, we met, and she's just like a hardworking, whip smart, director that's really coming up right now. And she had a couple of horror samples, or like there was like I think a body horror sample that we really liked, and we were like, okay, you could probably slot really well into this, which we want to be, gross and disgusting, but we really need a female perspective in order to shepherd this, because it is a lot of that at the end of the day. And just watching, once we picked Lily, because like you said, perfectly cast and extremely talented, and we knew that from the get-go. Watching them come up with the character and the arc of it was a lot of fun. And it was just nice to be able to sit back and trust somebody to just completely take it from beginning to end. We were always there as just, if you need anything, let us know, but we're going to shut up and let you do your awesome work.
Yeah, they made our jobs very easy. We gave Taylor the location, set her up with the effects team, everything she needed, and then immediately she just went to work, did everything else that was needed, and we were never really called upon unless we had to pick up lunch for everyone during the shoot days for that. And Taylor and both Lily, just true professionals. They came with open and productive mindsets. They never were thinking, oh, this is a low budget movie. They were thinking, this is a really crazy story, and I can't wait to play with this character, and I can't wait to play with this story. So again, I just think we got extremely privileged and lucky to work with so many people that wanted to come together and make Clickbait possible.
Yeah.
Yes. And I'm all about eating, I guess, apparently, with your film. Because what the hell was she eating?
Well, that's a good question.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I was going to say, P-Day is one of the shorts that I think is a good example of, there have been a lot of different interpretations based on what Joe and I kind of originally were like, we think it's going to be this. And it just completely blossomed. And that's been one of the fun things to see as people are watching the movie.
Yeah. This movie will be out one day to the masses. And when it does, I'm excited to see what the consensus is. Probably we'll never be able to reach one, because is the mommy vlogger actually a mom, or is she just so torn up and lost in her weird sycophantic spiral and parasocial relationship with this other mom live streamer that she just wants to emulate her life totally, and it breaks her brain? Because that's another thing that we see a lot of times with social media. I mean, hell, I did it with Bam Margera when I was little. You have like parasocial relationships with these people, and you think you're their friends, and it's pretty sick when you realize people don't have friends anymore. They don't leave their house, and the only social interaction they get is just by being online. So that was another smaller element of P-Day that we at least resonated with. That was a part of the through line for the whole movie. That was if you don't get that at all in the movie, it's okay, because a woman eats a really gross placenta.
Yes. And if she never had a baby, what the hell is she eating?
I know, yeah. But I think one of the jokes we kept talking about while making Clickbait was like, you really wanted eventually somebody to do like the YouTube like what did she eat in P-Day video essays or whatever. And I'm hoping that we're on that track.
I could see that happening. I hope so too. Let's see. Frank, do you have any other questions about P-Day?
Well, one, those sardines were nasty too. I don't like sardines, I can tell you that.
We had a whole fight over those sardines.
That was an interesting day, yeah.
And then the fingernail part too, that always gets me anytime you see something like that. That was pretty creepy. Other than that, I noticed she did have some CBD gummies, so that was kind of cool. I like when movies include some hemp or some cannabis. Also, I don't know if you guys are advocates for that or not. Were you guys out in LA?
Yeah, kind of have to be. It's sacrilegious to not be.
Yeah,
LA sober.
Yeah. Well, cheers to that.
The mask was cool. The mask. That was that designed, or is that an off-the-shelf mask you can
Amazon
purchase?
Man? That whole short is just Amazon. Buy it, return it, save all the money.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, yeah,
that's the way.
Yeah,
that works. Okay, let's go. Let's move right on to how much do you pay for rent in LA? Oh no, I skipped one. Let's move on to Daring Dudes, which before we started recording, or before we started the live stream, I was talking about how this one perhaps has the darkest comedy of all of the other segments, because people are getting murdered and it's taken very lightly. So my question for you is, did you always want that tone with this segment? Because it does sort of vary from the other segments.
They're not dark enough. They're
not dark enough.
No, as long as it's funny, that's all we care about. I mean, this was definitely just a 1-to-1. We really tried to replicate David Dobrik and like his sycophantic vlog squad that follow him around. Because I remember there was a controversy a few years back where like someone got injured and there was like a cover up for it. I'm like, how funny would I feel like David Dobrik would be the type of guy that if someone died on one of his sets, he's like, all right, no one say anything or I'll kill all of you. And that's the whole concept for that short. And that's how we feel about those content creators. So yeah, the darker, in our opinion, the funnier it is because of how silly of a setup it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
for sure. Frank, do you have any questions about?
So you guys didn't direct that one either? That was somebody else that directed that one and wrote it?
Yeah, Grant was the writer.
Mm-hmm.
And then Dean Smith, who I went to film school with, and then we worked on each other's projects every now and again when we could, classically just coming up together. We tapped him in. He's a really hardworking director. Like the first meeting we had with Dean was always like one I'll never forget, because Joe had met Dean a couple times. Like Dean, like he had said, provided us with the warehouse in which we shot Rent in LA. So Joe knew him from there, but he didn't quite know how hard working he was as a filmmaker yet. And we show up to this diner. Dean's like, meet me here at 5 p.m. We show up to the diner, and Dean has like all of his documents laid out on the table. He's reading like a classic novel.
He's reading like War and Peace or something.
Yeah, or A Crime and Punishment is what I think.
Yeah, it's Crime and
He
Punishment.
closes the book, sets it down lightly, and is like, gentlemen, let's talk about this Daring Dudes. And from there, it was just a matter of like, we knew from then on Dean was going to be able to take that thing from start to finish extremely easily, especially because that was one of the hardest ones to produce in a lot of ways. We fully trusted Dean to take it there.
What's great too, I mean, hey, if anyone here ever wants like a director for hire, Dean Smith, because before directing that, he's like, now who is this David Dobrik guy? Like he was so disconnected from what that short was even about.
Yeah.
They totally got the assignment and then gave us exactly what we wanted, if not much more than we ever could have dreamed of. And that's just because he was super adaptable and just put his head to the ground and started working.
Yeah.
And I love the scene where the guy's in the green suit and he's holding up the dead guy, which is in the trailer, so no spoilers here. And they're trying to, I won't say anything else, but it's very funny the way that all comes together. Let's see. So let's move on to How Much Do You Pay for Rent in LA? One of my favorites in your film. I love the whole sequence when it just sort of goes off the rails. Before we get to that, though, can you speak to, because you did direct this one, can you speak to the idea to come up with the premise of this host who's not very likable and sort of gets what he deserves?
That's the original Clickbait short, because that we made a proof of concept back in like the real doldrums of unemployment like 2 years ago. And I just said, hey, what if you do a really cynical version of that guy who goes up to people and says, how much do you pay for rent? And you shoot it the same way. You have the same font and everything. You even have like a cute girl in it, so it gets audiences. And then immediately it turns into a monster movie, but it's still shot the exact same way. And we had fun making it. We were able to clickbait a few people. And then I was like, let's just make a series of these. So that really was the first short we ever came up with for Clickbait. And we wouldn't have made the movie if it wasn't for Rent in LA. And like I said, that was like probably the first content creator. I remember I was desperate to find a new place to live. I had to move out my buddy's place. I didn't have a job at the time. Rent was so fucked up. And the hoops to jump through to find an apartment were even more fucked up. And then I saw this guy going on all these apartment tours with like all these daddy's money people. And it made me so upset that I just called David. I was like, I have an idea. And the content creator in that video, Luke, who was played by Will Sparks, who's an exceptionally talented actor, and you never see his face in the whole show, who plays that part so well, was based on our buddy's roommate, who was that guy completely. He was a content creator who, when we all lost our jobs, was like, what are you guys doing? Like, what value do you add to society? And then he'd turn around and be like, 24-hour live stream, handcuffed to my roommate. And we named the character after him. We based all of his mannerisms you don't see. Everything he, like the way he talks when he talks to the Haley character and he's belittling her. It's that dude. And we just were like, fuck these people. These people are they're just nasty. They don't contribute to society. They don't help anyone. And that's why we really wanted him to get fall from the sky.
Has he seen it? Are you still on
I
talking
don't think so.
That guy doesn't even register other people's existence unless they have more followers than he does.
Yeah. That's entirely who that guy is. He was honestly, it was fascinating to witness that guy as an inspiration, as a part of this movie, because it's a prime example. You see so many of these people just in their content, but to be able for us to have been able to have seen what that guy exists like outside of that world, even though they're all so sucked up into it, really helped, I think, inform how a lot of these characters exist in this movie.
Yeah, from a writing and directing standpoint, because like in Rent in LA, when that character was like, whoa, what a mess, after he like smashes the plates on the ground.
Oh my God, and the look on her face when he does that. Go ahead.
Exactly how that guy was, because on face value on his videos, you'd be like, what's up, guys? Today we're making the biggest piece of shit, and I'm going to send it to David Dobrik. And he said, oh my God, it's the biggest piece of shit. I can't believe you guys did that. And he's like, it took 10 gallons of human shit to make this. And then behind the camera, he'd be like, shit doesn't smell bad enough. We need to do this again. And he's like yelling at people and throwing shit in their face. Like, that's how that guy was. And that's exactly how the
sounds lovely. Yes. Well, then it's even more fitting when the girl's like, yeah, go look in the closet. I think there's feet in there. Frank, I know you like this one too. Do you want to jump in? Do you have anything about
now curious if that was the first one, what was the second, third, fourth, like how did the order go there?
That's a good question.
I know how the order went, David.
I want to guess. Okay, so let's see. It was Rent in LA first, when Ralph Reacts came after that, because that was our second proof of concept.
Yeah.
And then I remember we had a little bit of a brainstorming session in which I want to say P-Day was one of the next ideas.
We went to, I think the ghost hunting one was always, like, we wanted to make a full feat. You know Grave Encounters?
Yeah, of course.
Wanted to make a Grave Encounters like movie, except it's like Zach Bagans type guy, and they find a ghost, and he's like, "Oh no, that's not good. I wasn't expecting that to happen." And then it's like a comedy. It's like South Park meets Grave Encounters, basically. And then we tried to make it more contemporary with like Ghost Hunter Hype Beasts and shove it into a smaller short, which we're still finding the right through line for. But that was probably one of our other early originals. And then Grant came up with Daring Dudes, I think.
Well, I think it was like P-Day, and then Grant came up with the larger concept for Daring Dudes after that. But it was something along those lines, yeah.
Pretty
cool. You can even check out our older proof of concepts. They're on our website, galshumorpictures.com.
Okay.
And on our YouTube as well. But we have like a Ralph Reacts demo where we shot it with our buddy. And you see the same chat, you see the same setup, but we shot on like a DSLR in one night. We just fed him a taco. And we did the same thing with Rent in LA. A good friend of mine, she was the girl in it, and I was the camera guy in it. And one of the producers on the movie is like locked up in a cage in his underwear. It's like we just went really crazy with it. And those are out there, and you can see how far they came if you want to check out the real like originals that they were based off of.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, I mean that's a really interesting question, Frank, how they all sort of came about chronologically. But then how did you decide how to piece them all together, the order that we have in the film? How did you decide which one comes first, which one comes last, all within the framing element, the framing story?
I don't know if David wants to speak to it.
Well, I think we kind of started not quite knowing the order at first. There was a discussion that happened later as far as we needed to build a screenplay like fully put together for it so we could understand what the sequence of that was a very important part of it. But I remember for a long time, Joe really wanted Rent in LA to come first. And a very funny thing about Rent in LA is that Joe, that was definitely a brainchild of his, and he came up with this outline. He's like, I got the perfect thing. You're going to love this.
He hated it.
Well, I see the first one, and I'm like, so monkey running around, portal. There's a lot in here that I'm not quite seeing. And he was like, all right, let me take this back, and I'll work on a second one. When the second draft came in, I was like, all right, I got this. Let's do this. And for a while, we wanted that one to be first, but then there's like of course, spoiler but not spoiler, there's a sequence in the movie where you kind of see some things resurface. And that was when I was like, this would be a really good one to finish on, because not only has it kind of exploded as like people often say it's their favorite, I'm to be blunt, and I also think that there's a really interesting point to me or Easter egg in that you see a lot of stuff resurface, and it's the final one and kind of really shepherds the movie into a final push towards the explosive end, we'll say. So when we started just noticing things like that is when the sequencing became clear, and some of the joke, like the wraparound especially, doesn't ignore a lot of the shorts that go on. That was something we noticed while developing the wraparound, is some anthologies tend to just be completely separate. Like the wraparound is completely separate from everything else that goes on, and we wanted to make sure that everything still felt organically tied together. So a lot of the jokes then are just from before and after it goes into those shorts are tied to how the sequence felt naturally.
Yeah, you need Rent to come last just because the main character ends up running through the other shorts. David, it's fine.
Yes.
Hey, we're worried about spoilers. I don't know.
Hey, maybe it'll make them more.
No, it's some shocker vibes there.
But he runs through them all. I think from pre-production, we're always a pacing concern, and I thought he should start with a bang, then end with a bang. So Kyle Sees Ghost and Rent LA were always going to be the first and last. Just ended up being Rent in LA, obviously, for obvious reasons. It should be last. And then Daring Dudes is very violent and vulgar, so we think it'd be good to happen after the midpoint, because then you could be losing audiences. And if you warm people up with the first one, then you could have the slower, more methodical, quirky P-Day to go second. So bang, lull, bang, bang, then it's over.
Yeah, it works. What the most important question of this entire thing: why a monkey?
No good reason. I mean, we can wax poetic on why we actually ended up going with it. This was pre the monkey movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
But David, if you want to talk about the monkey.
Well, I mean, the obvious one, in my opinion, is that Joe has self-explained and explained over and over to me that he has a deep-seated fear of monkeys because of Rainforest Cafe, which is a very important part of the making of Clickbait in a lot of ways. Our effects guy that we mentioned, Eric Fox, his studio is out in San Bernardino, so we would have to drive from LA out there, go visit, do check-ins, get products delivered and everything. And on the way back, what we would do to celebrate is we would visit Rainforest Cafe in Ontario. And when we would show up there, Joe would eventually explain to me, like, this is where my fear of monkeys come from, because my dad would take me here and be like, if you don't finish your food, that monkey's going to get you. And then apparently Joe would look up at these horrible animatronics.
Monkeys coming out.
And I always found that really compelling, because I've never been a guy that I find chimps hilarious, but I think Joe really did convince me that there is a weird uncanniness to a chimp that when it's put in a murderous situation is definitely scary. And it's proved, especially when you see a chimp looking up at you in the bathroom stall, it's scary. So that's kind of how that came about.
The corny explanation is that the main character is always being chased by something, and it is a metaphoric monkey on his back, which is the explanation I gave to David. We also just had a monkey doll. I'm like, this would be fun to use. Yeah. But the real reason is it's a fun fear catharsis for me. And I also played the monkey, so it was fun to run around and be the monkey and exercise that fear in a different way.
I was wondering who that was, or if it was a friend or something. That's cool. Yeah.
That's why it's good to be co-directors, because we could direct together and people could at least take one seriously while the other was in a monkey suit.
Yeah. And you can add that to your resume. And you both appear in that segment. What was it like acting in Rent in LA?
Yeah, David is the dad.
Yes, and the office manager.
And the
IMDb.
And the dad, yeah. I mean, those are just funny because I really like the voice acting was just a matter of I could yell, and Joe and I coming up as assistants, you see a lot of it. So that was kind of a point of adding that in. But yeah, Joe being the monkey especially his crawl to this day impresses me. The hands and feet crawl that he does. That's
the football bear crawl that you do starting at the age of 5 that I've been doing forever.
Well, I do love that the monkey starts out as a little sort of fun-looking toy and then kind of morphs into this adult-size kind of scary monster version of it. I thought that was
and that's just it's a totem from the girl he harasses. So we also like to say that monkey could have been anything. If that was a bobblehead of Babe Ruth, then it would have been a weird interdimensional Babe Ruth chasing the guy, because at the end of the day, that weird, we call that a dimension that he finds himself in irrelevancy. That's what it is. It's like a purgatory of irrelevancy. And he's being chased by his demon because he's so afraid of dying in irrelevancy. And for that, he disrespects a woman who has a cherished monkey, and then it explodes and tries to kill him and Caleb Click.
It's like his Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
The exact same logic.
Comes to get him. Let's see. I have sort of a few fun questions before we get to this or that questions. But Frank, I wanted to give you an opportunity. Is there anything else you want to jump in and ask Joe and David?
Well, yeah, I guess if you had the monkey that inspired, something, was there anything else that inspired stuff from in your lives? Maybe a ghost story when you're a kid, or an alien, or a portal,
a P-Day.
Whole movies, life inspirations.
There you go.
Okay.
The one thing that I definitely took into Ralph Reacts, which is kind of how in Ralph Reacts, there's the boy, and the boy has this secret room in the house. Of course, writing about my own childhood home, the geography of it was super important for putting that together. And that room that it's in is this offshoot storage space off of our laundry room. That when I was a kid, I was peek around there and be the ghosts of my family's past.
There you go. Yeah.
So really, that was another one that was a kind of interesting way to go back and make it full circle from kind of like Joe and monkeys.
Love it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Returning to your childhood and in some ways.
Yeah.
So we've talked about all the different segments with Clickbait. For those who haven't seen it, which I think would be most people, how would you describe Clickbait using other films? Like, how would you pitch it? Sort of like Alien meets Predator.
Yeah.
Obviously not those films.
We've been working on promoting. We're having 2 screenings next week in Hollywood.
Oh, awesome.
Just follow us on Instagram if you want to check out the information. It's totally free. It comes with free beer. And we've been working on promoting it while going up and down Beyond Fest in Hollywood. David would dress up as the monkey, or I would dress up as the monkey, and the other guy's handing out flyers. I got like one right here. And
cool.
You're already bothering someone in public, so you better make it succinct. So we keep telling people, especially outside like the VHS Halloween screening, that this is pretty much VHS meets South Park. I mean, you can't get any clearer than that. And if you don't like those 2 things, you're really not going to like this. But if you like even half of those, you're going to love Clickbait.
Yeah.
So now I'm hoping that we'll get to see a sequel or a prequel in the future here.
Hell yeah. I mean, that's another great element of it is we can always – it's the barrier to entry for a movie like this is so low that you can help elevate other young filmmakers, because we are a part of a silent generation right now in filmmakers. You really don't get your break until you're 10 years older than we are. And that's one of the main reasons why we made this movie, is because we want us and our peers to be able to get their films out there and actually get seen. Luckily, I'm a lifelong horror fan, and that's always the greatest propeller is this genre. And you'll never find a more fervent and loyal and just kind fan base than the horror fan base. We're the normal people. Like, the people that love the prestige dramas, they're the weird ones that are, like, rude to you on the street.
Yes, I love that. It's a perfect way to describe the horror community, and you're in good company with us. Let's see. Do you have a favorite horror anthology?
That was going to be my next question.
Oh, Frank,
I love it. No, go. Yeah. I would love to hear.
You want to go first, David?
I mean, this is a good question because VHS actually came out around the time that I was like really early in high school, and it was super popular back then. Yeah. I'm also a big found footage fan. Like, I came to the genre through YouTube. Like, Marble Hornets was a big thing when I was in middle school and high school, and I loved that as a point of entry. So VHS is always one I'm going to go back to. Is like, I love those ones. And I don't know, like anthologies, that wasn't something I dove very deeply into, frankly, before Joe had this whole like big brain, like, here's what we're going to do. So I'll fall back on the classic VHS, I think.
Cool. Yeah, VHS Halloween is out right now.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna watch it right after this. Actually,
me too.
Hey, maybe me too. Then
there you go.
There you go. We can all share our thoughts.
I love episodic horror vehicles. Period. I mean, the easy answer is always VHS. I'd have to say probably one of the last editions I really loved because it really has a fresh take on it. Halloween I haven't seen yet. You have to appreciate everything from VHS all the way down to Freak Show. But I'd say if I were to pick a horror anthology vehicle that was my favorite, it's got to be Treehouse of Horror. Like, that is my gateway.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That is my gateway to so many classic horror films. I remember watching The Shining, Treehouse of Horror, before watching The Shining, and like dipped my toe before I actually watched the real thing. And every year we had a VHS tape that I still have that my dad just pirated all of the Treehouse of Horror movies on. And I watch it every year. And I just, probably on that TV, I'm going to watch it at some point. And yeah, it's just so nostalgic, but it also, like I said, is a great gateway to horror. And if you don't like one story, you might like the next. And that's another thing we really don't have. I guess you have horror video games now. Kids love Five Nights at Freddy's and Bendy, but
yeah,
I love you got to indoctrinate people in that horror industrial complex because it's a great complex to be in, and that's what got me.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're perfect to watch at the gym. Not that I watched your movie at the gym, but they're the perfect length, like the Creep Show episodes. Sadly, they canceled that, but the new seasons were great. Frank, I'm curious, what's your favorite horror anthology? Put you on the spot a little bit.
You know, it's probably going to be those original Creep Shows. I like 1 and 2. I used to love watching those as a kid. We're talking really young here, 7, 8 years old, you know, watching the raft sequence and being like, whoa.
I was going to say, you watched the raft as a kid. That's probably darker than any. It's probably darker than The Thing, honestly, the raft.
Yeah. I was born in '88, so it was right around the time, and my pops loved horror too, so we were always watching pretty much everything. I was real young, seeing all kinds of different horror, but
you turned out okay.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And then Tales from the Dark Side of the movie too. I thought that was a lot of fun as well.
Yeah, that's good.
That was always pretty cool. But there's tons of them, man. Yeah. What about yours, Aaron?
I'd probably say Creepshow. I love the Trick or Treat movie from, I think it was 2007, the Halloween one. That's just brilliant, the way it all comes together. Tales from the Crypt, the 70s movie is quite good. And then, of course, we had the 80s episodic version. But yeah, I'd probably say Creepshow, Body Bags, Trick or Treat.
Oh, yeah, Body Bags.
Body Bags. Is that like direct to Showtime when it came out? Or did it even play?
I don't know. John Carpenter's the wraparound segment.
Yeah.
I think it was supposed to be a series, but it didn't get picked up, and so they just made it into a movie.
Yeah, I think it was like Showtime's. What was HBO show? Tales from the
Crypt was HBO.
Tales from the Crypt
back in the 80s. Oh, The Hitchhiker was a great show back. I think Cinemax back in the day. Showing my age a little bit. Okay. Oh, well, Joe and David, this has been fantastic. Congratulations on your film, Clickbait. I hope it's streaming soon. And for those checking this out, I hope they get to see it soon as well. So as I mentioned, we like to do a this or that segment. Basically, we ask you two things. You pick one or the other. It's usually kind of fun. And in most cases, there's no right or wrong answer. But I will leave that up to you to decide. I'll kick it off. The first one we have is Evil Dead 2 or Army of Darkness.
David, I think, still needs to think about that one.
Well, I did think about it afterward, and I do think Army of Darkness is still a lot of fun. So I'm going to go with that one as well, as I think that's Joe's answer. But
I will say there are rights and wrongs in these questions, and I will say objectively, yes, Evil Dead 2 is a paragon of horror comedy. But goddamn, I love the crazy genre matching of Army of Darkness. It's like action, adventure, horror, comedy. It's everything I want out of a movie, and they don't make them like they used to anymore. They really don't have movies like Army of Darkness. I mean, that for what we think of Ash, it's pretty much Army of Darkness Ash.
Yeah. Have you seen the alternate ending?
I did like 3 of them, or
I think so. There's one where it's really bleak, like he returns in the future and everyone's dead. But then the one they went with, of course, he's back at the Target store.
It always confused me as a kid. If they named it Medieval Dead, I would have understood it completely.
Yeah.
I know. That's awesome. Me too. All right, Frank, over to you for the next one.
Predators or xenomorphs?
Oh, man. Xenomorphs are actually scary.
Yeah.
I don't think Predators are scary. One franchise is definitely better than the other, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Which one do you think?
I mean, Alien is a much better franchise than the Predator. It's not close. You can't compare them, unfortunately.
No, of course. Yes. What did you say, David? Did you pick one?
Xenomorphs, probably, because it's the same thing. Like, they're scarier. I like a lot of more of the... Like, it's interesting what they're kind of trying to do nowadays with bringing back Predator as a property, but like Joe says, Alien just has had a better streak of putting that out there anyway.
I mean, hell, Prey's better. I liked Prey more than Romulus, so maybe they're making a comeback.
Yeah, maybe. There's a new one coming out too. Okay, let's see. The Monkey, the new movie, The Monkey, or Monkey Shines. I don't want to say it's predecessor, but
I gotta say Monkey Shines just because it's a classic. You gotta love the filmmaker. With The Monkey, I mean, it's awesome we got 2 Osgood Perkins movies in a row, and we're going to get another one real soon. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, it kind of just, especially coming out the same year a Final Destination movie came out, it was a little premature. But, yeah, I mean, David, what do you think?
I'd actually never seen Monkey Shine, so this is going to be tougher for me to say. But I probably have to generally agree because I do think as a Stephen King adaptation goes, it was a lot of fun, but it still was a little. I appreciate and love Osgood Perkins, but it was still a little bit all over the place. Where I was like, all right,
the effects were too digital too.
Yeah,
I think it was like one of my takeaways.
Like the pool exploding thing when she steps into the electric pool. It was a fun little effect, but at the same time, it was like I don't know.
Yeah, we don't dislike
it. Was entertaining.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's see. Over to you, Frank.
All right, we got Black Mirror or American Horror Story.
Oh man, I mean, I feel like I'm gonna upset people with that one. I feel like there's totally an objective take there that it's Black Mirror for what it like does as a work of art. Because American Horror Story, I mean, you can put it's just like I always explain that one as Goosebumps for like the CW crowd.
Yeah, and there really hasn't like, in my opinion, too. There, as far as which one has a better library, it's definitely Black Mirror, in my opinion. It's not always scary, but it's like generally the quality I think is better on Black Mirror because frankly after season 3, and then I liked Roanoke. I didn't care for a lot of American Horror Story.
Yeah,
I've given up.
I love Twilight Zone too. I mean, it's basically just the new way of Twilight.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I hope we get more Black Mirror. I really like the one with Miley Cyrus. I forget what that one was with the little robot.
Oh, yeah, where she's a little
talking, kind of like Megan, like in Megan 2.
Yeah.
Anyway, I digress. Let's see. So since Halloween season is upon us, we've got a candy question here. Do you like Twix or Milky Ways?
I'm a Twix guy.
That's why we don't get along because I'm a Milky Way guy through and through.
Oh my gosh, the truth comes out.
David also just a left Twix guy. He throws the right side away. I swear to God, I've seen it.
I gotta watch my figure. Especially having written the script while fat.
Wait, Aaron, why out of all the candies, why those two? I feel like those are like not even popular compared to the
I don't know. Well, to be honest, I've recently asked people about Reese's peanut butter cups, and I got sick of asking because everyone picks Reese's peanut butter cups no matter what I pair it with. Now you guys will say I hate Reese's peanut butter cups.
Next time, make up two fake candies. Like, make up two fake candies and ask your next unsuspecting interviewee and watch if they squirm to think about what those even are, and then give you an answer. And then you're like, I just made those up.
I have had some fun ones where I ask, like, I don't know, like a vacation getaway from hell or this, and they're like, I don't think I've seen those two movies. I'm like, no, they're not movies. Like, you want to go on a anyway. Over to you, Frank. I won't name any names.
Let's go Creep Show or Tales from the Dark Side. Some anthologies here.
It's definitely Creep Show for me. I mean, that's classic childhood nostalgic fear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, probably the classic Creep Show as well.
Yeah, I think I
love it.
Although Tales from the Dark Side's great.
Yeah, they're both fun.
So here we have some modern movies. Hopefully you've seen these. Deadstream from 2022 or Superhost from 2021.
That's tough outside of the fact that Deadstream is such a huge inspiration for us. I mean, we love The Winters. To Hell and Back is one of my all-time favorite VHS shorts. And what they were able to accomplish with Deadstream, that was one of those movies I pointed to, and I was like, David, like, hold on. I think for us, we're much younger, so our chat and the way we presented influencers, which are a lot more raw and mean, because there is like zombies picking his nose, and it was fun. It's a great time. It was like Evil Dead too. If you, it was during a live stream, so you can't go wrong with it. But it was a huge impetus for our own work, so you got to always pay respect to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd go with that too. I do love both films, but Deadstream, there's something really special about that one. Let's see, a few more. Frank, over to you.
Tales from the Crypt or the Twilight Zone?
Well, I mean, now that we just keep getting into order of operations, because Twilight Zone is one of those things my dad showed me, who would always explain the political message after watching it. And I'm like, Dad, I'm just trying to watch TV at like 5 years old. Like, the monsters are due on Maple Street. Yeah, we're like watching the monsters are on Maple Street, or I forgot the exact name. And he's like, this is about McCarthyism. And he started explaining it all. And I'm like 6. I'm eating Skittles. I'm like, yeah, it's cool.
It's cool. And you couldn't pause it either. So you're like, be quiet. Go ahead.
What about you, David?
What did you say?
Probably definitely Twilight Zone. That was one I found on my own. And then kind of similarly, my dad would walk in the room and was like, what are you watching? That's a good one. Because like I bonded over a lot of classic television shows with my dad, like Monty Python. And so when I found that one, he was like, oh, what's going on here? But I just like the really eerie element of Twilight Zone. There's like such a specific feel to it that when you pop it on in a dark room, you're like, oh.
Yeah, agreed. And I love on New Year's Day that the Sci-Fi Channel still does the Twilight Zone marathon, and of course the Twilight Zone movie is fantastic. Okay, 4 more, and I don't think we have any other anthology type episodic questions for you. So there you go. Again, Halloween season, do you prefer to carve or paint a pumpkin?
Painting is sacrilegious. What are you going to say here?
Sacrilegious.
Jeez.
You got to get your hands in the goop, man.
Mm-hmm.
You have to smell the innards of the pumpkin, and you light it up. It becomes a lantern. That's the whole thing. Yeah. Sam from Trick or Treat's going to kill you if he sees a painted pumpkin outside your house. Like, Jesus Christ.
Now, I have to ask you this. Do you bake the pumpkin seeds?
Yeah. That's one of my favorite things to do. My aunt and I would do that a lot. Because then that's just another reason they're carved, man. You're getting something out of it. And then painting is just like, and then it rots and the painting falls into this dysmorphic.
And it goops off the side, although that can be scary in itself. All right, over to you, Frank. 3 more.
YouTube or TikTok?
Oh, God.
Definitely YouTube. TikTok is a cesspool. It's always been a cesspool. There's fun stuff that happens, but YouTube is just like, there's nothing like it.
Yeah, for sure.
History to it.
You can't compare one. One has useful information, and we've been able to actually get a lot of filmmaking advice and tips and inspiration from, and the other one rots our brains.
Yes, the doom
Fair enough. Oh, yeah.
All right, let's keep moving then. Horror comedies here. Tucker and Dale versus Evil or Cabin in the Woods?
David?
Cabin in the Woods. Tucker and Dale versus Evil is fun, but Cabin in the Woods specifically was such a good version of what it is.
They're both awesome movies, except you haven't even seen a meta commentary in horror as good as Cabin in the Woods since it's come out. It's like such a fun, nihilistic and existential way to do a meta horror movie where it's like we're trying to appease a fucking monster god. It's like so out there that you can't really compare them.
Yeah,
and that one, I think everyone's seen it now, but that one scene when Sigourney Weaver shows up, you're like, just when you thought it couldn't get any crazier, here comes Sigourney Weaver. Okay, last one. Over to you, Frank.
Halloween franchise or Friday the 13th franchise?
David, you want to go first?
It's an interesting one. I'd probably go Halloween by the end of it, and specifically because Halloween 2, with all of its like the car crash explosion in Halloween 2 is one of my favorite moments in any.
It's so funny.
Oh yeah.
So I go with that one.
It's so tough because if you're a gore hound, you have to say Friday the 13th. That is like the paragon in gore. It's funny because Halloween just kind of just slowly diminished in quality over and over again. But as I'm like, I've done the psychotic explain all the Halloween timelines to David while we're having beer conversations one too many times. I can't not say Halloween is over for me. I mean, it's easily my favorite. I'll watch all of them except Halloween 5. Anyone that likes Halloween 5, like, come on, man.
even more so than Resurrection, the one that we aren't supposed to talk about?
Oh, hell yeah, because that one, someone says trick or treat, motherfucker, and then does a spin kick and kicks like
it's
that.
Buster Rhymes. Yeah.
Every single one has redeeming qualities to it. I mean, Resurrection is like a parody Halloween movie. It's so bad. And it's even funnier that it's like a Weinstein produced movie that they were like, no, this is good. We'll release that.
And this is what we're doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Buster
I mean, Halloween
Rhymes, yes.
5.
Tyra Banks, check.
Yeah. I mean, I love 4 too. I also do another rant in that Halloween 4 is the original soft reboot, and Jurassic World and Halloween 2018 and even Star Wars have copied the exact same formula where you launch a new trilogy off of like an older existing franchise. Halloween just did it twice, which is so crazy how fucked up that franchise is. Actually, 3 reboots after.
I think he's coming back. I don't think it's the end. Well, let's see. David and Joe, this has been fantastic. Congratulations on Clickbait. Please keep us updated on when it's coming out. We'll promote it as much as we can on our channels and get the word out. And hopefully this video will help people learn about your film and get ready to watch it as soon as it's available. Why don't I give you a moment to talk about how folks can find you on social media?
Awesome. Well, I appreciate
if you want to be found.
Oh, we need to be found.
We need it.
We need to be found. You can find us on Galaxy Humor Pictures on Instagram and YouTube. We post a lot of just old demo stuff on YouTube, but we're also going to be releasing a new short film we made called Cuck Scare, which we're really excited about. Shot totally cinematically. It's like an actual movie, but it's a parody joke movie that is about a man so afraid that he's being cheated on that he starts seeing monsters in his house and he kills himself on accident. And on Instagram, Galaxy Humor Pictures. And if you're in the Hollywood or just greater Los Angeles area, you can come to a couple of free screenings that we're holding on Saturday the 11th at 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. Totally free with free beer. And if you didn't like our interview here, you could come and tell us to our faces there at that time. So you just follow us on Instagram for more information. We have the Eventbrite link there as well. But also, thank you again to you guys for helping us platform ourselves, because it's a huge deal. The horror community coming together to support their own, but also to support filmmakers that they want to see more work out of. So really appreciate it, guys. Thanks again.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Yeah, congrats, guys. It was great chatting with you.
Yes,
Nice
indeed. Again, congratulations on your film. Thank you, Frank from Cheers Up Cinema, for joining. And I hope you all have an excellent evening. And if you're watching, thank you for tuning in. And be on the lookout for Clickbait. I'm Aaron here from A&B Horror Movies. Thanks for checking out our interview and live stream.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, everyone.
See you guys.